Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Once a DJ. If you'd like to support the show, then head to onceadj.com/support to find out how you can help. If you'd like to get in touch with any feedback or suggestions, email onceadjpodcast@gmail.com. Once a DJ is produced by the good people at Remote Control. If you'd like to find out more about working with them, head to remote-ctrl.co.uk. Time for the show.
Nice.
It's a pleasure to have on the show today Barry Beats, the legend, the man, the myth, call him what you want. It's great to have you here, Barry. How are you doing today?
Great to be here, yeah. Pretty good.
Excellent. So, yeah, we were going to get you on with Sai on the last episode, but unfortunately we couldn't, so really appreciate you finding the time to do it today.
All good.
So what would be really good would be just to jump straight in and kind of try and understand how you got into beat making, really, because I believe Sai was there in the early days of it, kind of helping you kind of kickstart your journey.
Yeah, well, I mean, he'd been into it for years and years, and I've sort of always just been in the background a little bit, sort of, shadowing him, in a sense, kind of see him almost like as my beat-making spirit animal sort of thing.
Nice.
So, very, very much inspired and similar tastes. Almost, I would say, identical tastes.
Yeah, I think his style kind of really shows in how you produce. Did it take a lot to pick up the beat making?
Well, I mean, I'm not. The thing is, even though I'm kind of on YouTube, sharing my knowledge and teaching production techniques and stuff, I'm actually pretty hopeless at technology.
Wow.
I'm one of those people. I know exactly what I want to be able to do, but I don't really bother myself with all the other bells and whistles, if you know what I mean. It's like, with sample-based production, I mean, the long and short of it is, all it really comes down to is start points, chopping sample start points, and end points, and just, it's not like maybe dance music or techno music where a lot of sophisticated synthesizer modulating and arpeggiating and all that kind of business. It's kind of just chopping samples up, but obviously the scope there to be as creative as you want is there, and obviously I'm taking it an extra step with layering my own keyboards, and I'm obviously into the virtual instruments now, and just mega chopping, shall we say. So I'll chop something, I'll feel like I've got two 88 key keyboards just so I can load both 88 keys up with samples. So yeah, I'd probably take it a bit to the extreme, but yeah, I mean, I guess I just took to it naturally. Thing is with production, a lot of it is just, it's kind of your ear. I've always said the main thing is training your ear and just having a love for music. I've always had that love for music, and I think when you're starting off making beats, you might have the best taste in music, you might have a great record collection, and you might know the stuff to sample, but if you're struggling with the technical side of it, then it's always that's gonna kind of interfere with the quick inspirational sort of aspect. You need to get those ideas out really quickly, so learning a bit of equipment and finding a workflow that works for you is vital. And I guess that's why a lot of people, you still see people now working on bits of kit from the 80s and 90s, SP1200s and MPCs. I guess it's because their mind's not getting blown with hundreds of different plugins and sort of a screen full of stuff. It's just like whatever works for you. I find that's been my thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because it's kind of the power of limitation, isn't it?
Well, people say that. I mean, that is the classic thing of, I like the limitations of 10-second sample time, and I mean, it's not for me to say that that's not good for you, because if that works for you and you're really pushing yourself, fantastic. For me, I guess the difference is, I was dabbling on those machines back in that time, and I was always frustrated that I always wanted more sample time. And I just think of the stuff you can do now. I wouldn't have even dreamt that you could do the incredible stuff you can do now. I mean, most people have on their computer the sort of technology that would have been in a multi-million pound studio in the 1980s. It's nuts.
Yeah, Si mentioned a similar thing with regards to DJ technology in the last episode. Yeah. It is a really good point. Speaking of DJing, like, you've done some mixes that are on your Bandcamp as well, haven't you?
I have, yeah, and I did the back-to-back mix on my YouTube. Again, that was a bit of a lockdown mission, shall we say? I mean, obviously, lockdown brought everyone out, brought all the DJs out, and couldn't move for live DJ sets.
Oh yes.
So I kind of inspired by that. I thought, well, I mean, I've always thought with Serato, I see Serato almost as being an extension of a sampler. You can trigger samples on there. You can manipulate them. It's probably better than the samplers I was using back in the day. So it was always my idea to kind of demonstrate what you could do, because even if I'm DJing, I will loop stuff and kind of make tracks on the fly. If I bring an old record in, I'll sort of chop up the ID points and sort of program it up, and I could program drums over stuff and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, why not try and plan like the ultimate sort of break DJ set? And then I thought to myself, well, I've always been into cut and pastes. I've got the Death Star one, and I've got the Fly Like a Seagull. So I thought, well, let's finish it off. Let's make it a holy trinity of cut and pastes. So I thought, what else can I do? The first one, the Fly Like a Seagull, was basically, I think I got like the world record or whatever for the most amount of samples in a composition.
Oh wow.
According to Grand Slam magazine. I'm standing by that. I mean, we're talking layered, because obviously a lot of it was programmed, so there'd be layered kicks, and I think I was up to, I don't know, 300 or 400 different samples in there.
Oh, blimey.
So it was quite a few. So I did that one, and then obviously took the mantle of the Star Wars, which I always wanted to do, like the ultimate Star Wars mashup, homage, being a big Star Wars fan. Again, that took forever to do. And so I thought, what can I do next? And the only thing I could do next, I thought, was to try and do one live, to actually, with the help of Serato, plan a live cut and paste mix with all the spoken word and just a mashup of breaks and beats and bits and ideas. So the planning that went into it, you don't even want to know. It was, I mean, put it this way, lockdown was almost over by the time I've pulled it off. So
Yeah.
missed the boat a little bit, but I'm glad I did it. It was a lot of effort. I don't know if I could have been more productive doing other things, but I've kind of got it out of my system now. So to go through the different processes, I mean, process number one, dig through, find a load of crazy records that had to be so obscure they weren't going to get flagged by the old YouTube content ID. So my first mission was to source a load of samples, upload them to do sort of 30 seconds of each, upload it onto my YouTube, and see which ones got flagged.
Yeah, and this is something I've read about, and this is a good bit of information for DJs that are wanting to put a mix on YouTube, isn't it? That's kind of your benchmark way to check if they'll get flagged.
Yeah, there was a link that I got sent to, like a site that supposedly would tell you whether it was on the lists, but a few of those that got flagged weren't on that list, so it's not 100%. I didn't want to risk doing this whole mix and then suddenly it got flagged and a bit got cut out or couldn't monetize it or whatever. So I was very careful from the outset to make sure that everything was flying under the radar, and not even so much a sort of consideration of getting stuff pulled or getting a flag or anything. It was also, I just wanted the most obscure stuff that wasn't even on YouTube, so a lot of that stuff isn't on YouTube. I dug pretty deep in the crates. So I did that first of all. So then I had a list, maybe 80 records or so. And the only way I was going to pull it off live was to get them to be on a grid, at least to get them in time.
Yeah.
So then I had to literally, you're talking like 70 or 80 songs I had to warp in time.
Wow.
And yeah. So so that way, you know, you can loop little bits, because, you know, this is before I'd even planned any of the mix. I had some ideas of things I wanted to try out and things that I thought might go together well, but I thought there's no way I can even start, you know, experimenting and planning this mix out if, you know, things are not going to be able to loop properly, or they're going to, you know, if I'm going to pull this off in one shot, you know, I can't be sort of feathering the pitch or anything like that. So yeah, that was the next step. And it was really good, because it taught me some really good techniques for warping. I was always pretty good with warping. For anyone who's not aware or not familiar with warping, it's the Ableton sort of pitch and time manipulating tool. So it enables you to put little markers and squeeze, extract, and basically get music on a grid, or just move bits of, it's like elastic audio. It was called in Pro Tools, but it's basically, it makes your audio elastic. You can stretch it and make it fit whatever you want, really. So yeah, I did that, and I kind of learned, and again, I got a little bit anal on some of it, because there's different algorithms, different, what are they called? Sort of it's complex pro, beat, melody. So I wouldn't just choose the best one. I'd like record off maybe 3 or 4, complex pro being maybe the best one, but whenever there was a bit of flam in or a bit of something else, I'd drop in another bit. So I was comping.
Wow.
So because I really wanted the quality to be good. I didn't want it to sound, because bearing in mind, even though Serato's pretty good when it comes to pitch and stuff out and up and down, you're still getting a little bit of artifacts from time stretching. So I didn't want to add the warping of Ableton and the Serato pitching. I didn't want to. I didn't want anything sounding too phasey or flammy. So.
I mean, this is the kind of the DJing equivalent of when we were talking to Sai. He was talking about how he'd spend like a day just working on one snare drum. So I think you must have this kind of like obsessive detail that runs in the family or something.
Yeah, definitely some kind of spectrum. You know, I think we're on. Maybe on the beat spectrum. You know?
He said something similar to that.
Yeah, so one thing I'm quite good at, and I find is I do tend to, I'll try and do the things methodically.
Yeah.
I won't just jump to the fun bits, if you know what I mean. Same with beat making, you know, it's about you. It's kind of like DIY, you know, you've got to do the groundwork first. And it might be a bit more boring, but when you do it, you're building on solid foundations, you know what I mean? So, that's basically was the planning. So once I had all those sort of 80 odd tracks in my folder, then the fun began, you know. Then it literally was just like, you know, putting this set together. And I mean, I started off just with the musical elements, more or less, just getting the music flow. I mean, obviously, if you haven't seen the video, I'll try and explain the video, shall I? Because people are probably wondering what the hell I'm on about.
Yeah, we'll put some links in the show notes as well.
Cool. So what I tried to do, I'm all about concepts. And first of all, when I was thinking, I'd love to do a live cut and paste, but then for it to be intricate and interesting enough, I don't know if I could do it all one time, you know what I mean? It would just be like a DJ mix. So I thought, what I really need is I need to clone myself. I need to somehow lay the musical elements down. And as with all good cut and pastes, a lot of it is your vocal bits and your scratches and your acapellas and all your sound effects, all that kind of stuff that you stick over the top. So that's when I thought, well, let's try and do it as a back-to-back with myself. So so the first stage, obviously I had to do the musical bed. So I had to basically create this whole journey. I hate that word, but it was a journey. And once that was done, so I hadn't even at this point planned any of the vocal bits. There was a couple of vocal bits I think I put in and sound effects, only just so I could do the effective links between the tracks. But on the whole, I was just concerned with creating the music bed, which a lot of it was looping, chopping stuff up, reprogramming, doing all that kind of wizardry stuff. Then when that was pretty much in the bag, and I'd get weeks of rehearsing it, because then I was like, am I ever going to pull this off? And I was getting there, but it's a lot of little notes and little notations on my Serato of what I had to do, because there was a lot of sort of pitch movements. I mean, it took me back to the days of the old battle mixing, but obviously with the aid of this incredible technology. So yeah, did that, then I had to record it. So, and of course, I had to do it at night time, so everyone was tucked up in bed, and I think I was up to about 4 o'clock in the morning, to be honest, and eventually nailed it. And I mean, I think you see like the look of elation when I actually finish the mix, even down to I had to rehearse sort of like a little hello and at the end, so there is even like a few little actions to make it work. So then I had that to work with. So I had the audio of that, because again, I wanted the audio to be nice. So I was taking a direct line out of the mixers and recording that. So it was like a good quality mix. So then I had the video footage and the good quality audio, direct out audio. And then it was another, I don't know, few months working out all the scratches and the sound effects and spoken word bits. And all the extra bells and whistles that I think was the left-hand screen. So then I had to, obviously, I would be playing it out. I can't quite remember how I did it, but I had it playing on the loudspeakers, I think the main mix. And I had the direct out of the mixer recording into another channel with all the bits that I was doing, the extra bits. And again, probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning till I nailed it. And, as you can see, it's all one long, no edits.
That's a lot of work to go into one mix.
I know. To be honest, I was hoping it would go like stratospherically viral after all that. And it's done well, and it's got a lot of props. And to be honest, it satisfies my itch. But a bit like the Star Wars. Some of the things that I knock out quite quick will do really well, and some of the things that have taken a lot more effort don't kind of get the reception, but they're there. It's all part of, I've built up my channel, and it's like I'm happy with all the content on it. Really, I've put a lot of, I don't really. A lot of YouTubers, famously, it's just a thing on YouTube to content. Put it, get as much up. But I'm a little bit the opposite, actually. I'm sort of, I guess, quality over the quantity, and just
but it's so interesting though to your point, like when I had SoundCloud, my SoundCloud was doing all right at the time. I was on about 250,000 plays, I think, which I think wasn't bad, but it got taken off for copyright, which is perfectly understandable, because nothing on there was original.
Well, I was going to say, you're doing quite well on SoundCloud to be done for copyright, because as far as I'm aware, they are one of the laxer platforms.
It was all pretty obvious stuff.
Okay.
And I'd find I'd select, because I was really into doing mashups at the time, and I'd make these ones that I just thought worked really, really well, and that I maybe thought were a bit clever as well. In terms of key structure and things like that, I just thought they'd work really well. But then there's another, you could pull two artists out of a hat. You could say Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie in this hand. I don't know, The Police, Bob Marley, Madonna in this hand. Just mix them all up, and then whatever you do from that, spend 20 minutes doing it. It wouldn't have to all like come in on the one or anything. It could sound like shit, and you'd probably still get more listens to that. And it's just like, what's the point? So it can be really disheartening.
Do you think, is that because of the caliber of the artist, or you think people are just searching those artists?
I think it's the concept and the familiarity with things like that.
Yeah.
People want to hear Justin Timberlake and Metallica or whatever it is. You could just stick him on a dartboard or whatever. So it is funny like that. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying Once a DJ. I wanted to create a product for the listeners to be able to support the show, and for the guests as a token of gratitude for being on. So I've teamed up with Sure Shot Shop to create some Once a DJ 45 RPM adapter clamps. These are my weapon of choice as a 45 adapter, as they add stability and grip to aid you in any setup. These are available for £25 each plus flat fee postage from onceadj.bigcartel.com. And if you'd like to see the other models you can buy and also customise, check out sureshotshop.com. If you're an avid collector of timeless music on vinyl, but don't have the budget to fork out for those pricey originals, then look no further than Be With Records. From library music to yacht rock, jazz, hip-hop, disco and beyond, Be With lovingly reissue some of the coolest classics. All of their records are carefully remastered and cut to the highest standards to make sure the pressings are of peak audio quality and do justice to the music being released. And something else to note is that they don't do limited runs to drive up resale and hype. If the demand is there, they'll repress, as the focus is the music, not the profit margin. They have flat rate shipping and free UK shipping on orders over £60. And if you head to bewithrecords.com and use the discount code ONCEADJ, all one word, you'll get 10% off your order. So head to bewithrecords.com and level up those crates today. So which are your rhythm roulettes your biggest? I mean, because I know with your recent rhythm roulette, that went crazy. That was kind of 17,000 views overnight or something, wasn't it? It was very fast. It took off really quickly. But that's with having a trailer to it and stuff as well, wasn't it? You know, there's a lot.
I built it up, quite. As I said, that's the thing. It's all very well working on a video, but then you're like, oh, now I've got to do all the promo.
Yeah.
And, I'm not particularly good at sort of bigging myself up sort of thing. So, but it's got to be done. It's so teasers and all that stuff. It's great now that you can do YouTube premieres, which are good. They bring people in. I do a lot of sort of watching other YouTubers talking about how to hack the algorithms and all that. So I try to sort of take on a bit of that, take that on board. And I think the thing at the moment now, it seems to be, it's less about subscribers, numbers. It's just literally about engagement and how long you can keep people on watching. And, if you can do longer form videos and they stay on board, then your stuff goes right up to the top,
Right.
So I think I kind of do all right in that, because as I said, I try and, I'll spend time editing the videos to make them as punchy and, and I try and make them as short as possible, but not always possible depending on what I'm trying to communicate. But still waiting for the big one. But I guess with the original Rhythm Roulette, that's definitely obviously the best performing one that I've got by far. But then that's been up for years. But then that one's always, it's like if you were to plot a timeline, that's just sort of slowly keeps on going, and I get 4 or 5 comments a week from that one.
Have you got, just on Rhythm Roulette, have you got any particular favourites?
Good question. I like Eric Sermon's. His was good. It wasn't that rated, but I like what he did, because he did flip something that was pretty dodgy, if I remember rightly.
I don't think I've seen his.
It's a good one. There's a couple of absolute bangers. I'm trying to remember them. The Just Blaze one was pretty good. I'm a huge Just Blaze fan.
That one's really, because he's like, what I think's cool with that one as well. Apologies, listeners, we're getting kind of pretty down a hole here, but there's an amazing beat making video series called Rhythm Roulette on YouTube, where people will find 3 random records in a shop and then go and try and make the best beat they can out of 1, 2 or all of them. In their own way. But so when Just Blaze does his, he's got kind of, I don't know, probably like a group of college kids behind him watching, hasn't he? And
he did it like live, so
I think that's really, really cool. But he's a really interesting guy, but really knows his engineering as well, doesn't he?
I think for me, for a noughties onward producer, he's probably done some of my favourite beats. He's very, very impressive producer. I'm just really trying to remember the one. I like the Psycho Les one from the Beat Nuts, because I like Les. He's a good chap, and
he pulls it. It's a very Beat Nutsy beat as well.
Exactly. I know what he likes. He likes quirky, like me. He likes quirky kids records and that kind of stuff. So, and he made. Somehow he found something that was totally his sound. And it was, it just made me smile. He wasn't the most sophisticated one, but
beats don't need to be.
They don't need to be, no. And let's face it, you don't have much choice if you're on the Rhythm Roulette. Quite often don't have much to play with. But I'm trying to think. There was obviously, I run everyone mentions the Ninth Wonder one. I mean, he did a good, this was pretty good.
It's just really good to see different people's processes, I think.
100%.
And see how they get those nuanced sounds.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think if I ever got really unstuck, I mean, I was the two that I've done. I've been, I've done all right with the fines. But if I really came unstuck, I guess, what could you do? You could extract some stuff. Oh no, I'd probably use a technique that I would definitely employ the Melodyne technique, which is one of the last videos I did where I took a really terrible sample. It was some German sort of pub music, traditional music. And you can change the actual scale. So you can turn it into like a minor scale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you check that video. It's a bit of fun. I was basically trying to find the worst bit of music I could find. I was going to use the theme tune from the Archers, which I still might do. But yeah, something like that. And so if you can take something in a sense that's happy, chirpy, and you can make it sound moody, like a Mobb Deep sample or something, and you can even sort of make it sound like you can turn it into sort of Turkish scales or Japanese kind of scales. It's amazing. Yeah, so I would probably do that. I would definitely call upon the modern technology to save me. So I'm pretty confident. Yeah,
and how many of the sort of going on to your tutorials then? How many of those have you done now?
I mean, not a huge amount, to be honest. I should be doing more, which is the plan. I'm definitely, I've got a big game plan, hopefully, that will enable me to do a lot more tutorials. And I think I just need to do sort of more shorter one. I'm going to plan on doing some like bite-sized Barry vids where I'll just focus on a little technique or something rather than just a full-fledged beat. But I'm not sure, mate. Off the top of it, it's got to be about 7 or 8, 9, 10 maybe.
Amazing. And I know we're kind of going around here, but the thing that I really wanted to get into with you on this episode is kind of the latest thing you've been doing, which is the Ultimate Fakes compilations, which are homage to the Ultimate Breaks, and it's basically royalty free drum loops, isn't it?
Yeah.
With a heavy nod to some amazing drum loops of the past.
Yeah, I mean, that's my latest thing. Looking into kind of sample packs are a massive thing. So I was thinking, let's have a go. And I'd started experimenting with, I'm trying to think when I first started experimenting with plugins. When I moved from the MPC over to me Mac Pro, so about 2016, 17, around then, I got the Contact Native Instruments Complete and the Contact, which had all these amazing instruments, and it had the Abbey Road drums.
Yeah.
And on their own they sounded okay, but as soon as you start adding lots of different saturation and started getting them sounding really grimy, they were actually sounding like old breaks. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. After all these years of digging for these breaks and paying probably above the odds for 4 bars of drums off a record, which again, all you can really do is chop those 4 bars up and you're stuck with what you got. It's like, no, I can actually I can travel back in time now, and I'm put myself in a dusty Detroit recording studio circa 1972 and come up with my own breaks. So I started experimenting with that as well as other keyboard instruments, and was getting some pretty good results. I mean, a lot of it is kind of, I'd say it's 80% the instruments and then 20% the processing. So it's a combination of processing. And I guess around this time, the last sort of 15, 20 odd years, people have started making records that mimic like old recordings, from the Dap Kings and, Poets of Rhythm. All those people have started coming through, making incredible records that just do sound. Some of them just like 100% nail that old sound. But obviously they're all using the same old analog equipment, tape. So to my knowledge, no one was really doing it fully in the computer, and I was thinking, well, and it wasn't even getting talked about, people weren't even it wasn't a thing. But from those early sort of Abbey Road drum experiments, and sort of being quite impressed, and then sort of Native Instrument had some really great bass guitars, so then you started building the bass up. There's a my favorite is the Rickenbacker bass, which is the classic kind of KPM music library sounding bass. You know, and started playing that with the bass, with the drums, and like, yes, it sounded like an old library record, you know, and I'm not doing that much to it. So that was a game changer.
When we were discussing your library record over email before we had the call, and you mentioned to me that it was all done in the box, that really surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people can't tell the difference, you know, and I mean, I've homed it. I've definitely sort of, the more I've got quite a few new plugins that add even more realism, and I think I'm just constantly learning. I mean, my main problem with it is I can't really read or play music particularly. It's like it's all ear, and it's all doing things sort of just one bar at a time, laying stuff down. I'm trying to, there's a few little things I'm using, few tools that are helping me out. I use a lot of MIDI extraction. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just embracing all the technology that I can to help me. But at the end of the day, I'll just labor over something. Is, you know, I'm not the quickest at replaying stuff and interpolating things, but get there in the end. But yeah, the sounds are there, obviously, with things like keyboard sounds, with clavinets and harpsichords and electric pianos and organs. They're always going to sound pretty convincing. So there was never an issue sort of, you know, I mean, I've always been able to, you know, even when I was doing mainly all the sample-based stuff, I was still playing keys over the top, those kind of keys, and they'd sound good. They'd always sit well. But things like brass instruments and woodwinds, you know, never sounded good, you know, back in the days, you know, when, think about the early noughties, you know, even you'd have the Korg Tritons and the Trinities and Neptune's beats, you know, they were great for what they were, but did they sound like old records? Were they particularly convincing? Not necessarily. No. You know, they had their sound, but they weren't the most convincing. So
I think what was interesting with those though was because it took me a while to get into Neptunes and stuff like that. I mean, that kind of era in general, there's a lot of stuff where, in retrospect, I think it's aged really well, a lot better than a lot of the stuff I would have been into at that time. But with what the Neptunes did, it's kind of like, right, we're not trying to make this sound like anything real. They just went kind of head first into that, because they like chopped the decay off all the snares and things, didn't they, to have this really different sound.
Yeah, I mean, they knew what they wanted, they knew what they were doing, and yeah, I mean, I'm not going to name some other producers at the time, but I think they were the ones that really took it to the next level and just had to find their own little sound. But yeah, got to give them props for that. As I said, they weren't trying to recreate break, shall we say? They were doing keyboard beats for the sake of, I think originally it was just really for the sake of not having to clear samples and just sort of trying to do original stuff that just had a different sound. It was more space agey, a bit more futurism sort of sound. But yeah, I think you're right. A lot of it does age really well. And yeah, had a good energy to it.
Just rolling back then, with the fact that you've kind of got a toe in DJing and in beat making, well, more than a toe, you're kind of pretty heavy into both. Have you got any key advice for a DJ who can't read or write music, who wants to start making their own beats, like just that kind of first step into it to start? Because it can seem there's so many different pieces of software and pieces of hardware you can use now, so many different ways to approach it. Is there any kind of fundamental advice you would give them?
Yes, I'd say the first bit of advice I give anyone is, before you make any music, before you get a DAW, turn anything on, work out what you like. What does it for you? You know, make a list of your top 5 producers. You know, what are they doing? What are they doing that you like in particular? You know, if it's sample-based music, what sort of samples are people using that you like? What are the samples that relate to you? You know, you like the jazzy, mellow stuff? You like the hard, proggy stuff? You like melodic stuff? You like sort of more just stripped down stuff? You know, I mean, I can't tell someone what they like. I can only sort of, I've got my own sound, my own musical taste. But everyone should really you're doing music for yourself at the end of the day. That's your fundamental thing. You've got to enjoy doing it, and you've got to just do stuff that makes you happy, that you want to listen back to. You've got to try and aim for the sort of music that you'd want someone else to make. You're going to make yourself. So, just search inside yourself. There might even be like old songs that you've always loved. Not a guilty pleasure as such, but there might be, you always like that classic, JB's track or a Kool and the Gang track. Well, go chop it up, have some fun, see if you can make something out of it. Just rather than just following a trend or thinking, oh, that's the thing that's hot at the moment, or I better put some 808s on it. If that's not your thing, don't do it. Just do. I think famously that's what most people that have broken through and made a big music career, they always say, like, the thing that really did well is the thing that I just sort of did what I wanted to do, and what the thing I wasn't expecting to necessarily blow up. So
I suppose that's the thing you're going to have more energy to maintain doing as well, aren't you, if it's the thing that you're just really into?
Well, yeah, if you think about it, especially when you're learning, it's not going to be it's not like you're going to be able to bash a beat out in 5 minutes, unless of course you're just using sample packs or pre-made loops, which again, if you enjoy doing that, and if you're doing that, there's nothing wrong with it, but spend some time trying to search for those samples that really are like, I call them the scrunch face samples, the ones that really hit you, and emotionally sort of connect with you. So, if you're finding those samples, especially if you're starting off, I would suggest not necessarily trying to emulate, a sophisticated Just Blaze beat, when you're starting off. Just get some sample loops, put them together, experiment a bit. We all got to start somewhere, and just learning about bars and just basic structure is a building block. I mean, because it can be very demoralizing, if you're instantly getting into the game just to try and emulate Dr. Dre or something. It's not going to happen overnight, and you're only going to be, you're on a hide into nothing in a sense. Because just check out YouTube videos, study the producers you like, because a lot of them will be talking about their process. Just really embrace it, and be eager to learn the technology. And again, with technology, you can pretty much, most things you can learn on YouTube. There'll be a tutorial somewhere. Although, to be fair, one of the inspirations for me getting into making videos was when I first moved over to Ableton. A very good friend, Shadow Key, he was on it for years, and he got me into the basics of it. But then, as far as me wanting to be able to really quickly chop up samples almost on the fly, which is always to me the dream, and when I got into that, I made it my mission to really crack it. And eventually I found like an add-on that would enable me to do it, and basically I just press a key and that will put a sample start point, so I can do it live. And just over like the course of maybe a year of really getting busy, just deciding I'm going to crack this and make this the quickest sample chopping workflow that I can come up with. There were no real good videos showing me how to chop up samples into loads of bits really quickly. I think there probably are a few more now, but at the time there weren't any. It was really frustrating, and there'd be ones and they'd be chopping up like something really basic, like a Herbie Hancock sample that's been sampled to death, and they'd be looping it and chopping it into quarter bars or something, and that was it. They weren't telling me like step by step, and I was thinking there's no really good hip-hop based tutorials that are telling me sort of the real kind of proper chopping up and sample manipulation, even though, as I said, it's not even that sophisticated. But I wanted to show how kind of, once you get the basics, how sort of easy it is, and you don't have to kind of worry too much. So that kind of inspired me. I thought, well, once I've cracked it, I'll try and share it. And funny enough, even though I did other videos where I kind of talked about different techniques, only like a year or so ago, I I did one at work, which is on there. So if you search Ableton sample chopping, you'll find one of me a little way down. And yeah, if anyone is getting into Ableton and wants a nice workflow for chopping samples really quickly, I kind of break it down and demonstrate it quite clearly, I think, as clearly as I could. So hopefully that will save people a lot of pain that I went through.
I think I need that one because I've not seen that one, but it could be really, because that's something that I like about the MPC that I've got. I've got the MPC Live and just the doing the chopping on the fly.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've got that and it's more dexterous to then recorrect afterwards, then happy days.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying Once a DJ. I wanted to create a product for the listeners to be able to support the show and for the guests as a token of gratitude for being on. So I've teamed up with Sure Shot Shop to create some Once a DJ 45 RPM adapter clamps. These are my weapon of choice as a 45 adapter as they add stability and grip to aid you in any setup. These are available for £25 each plus flat fee postage from onceadj.bigcartel.com. And if you'd like to see the other models you can buy and also customise, check out sureshotshop.com. If you're an avid collector of timeless music on vinyl but don't have the budget to fork out for those pricey originals, then look no further than Be With Records. From library music to yacht rock, jazz, hip-hop, disco and beyond, Be With lovingly reissue some of the coolest classics. All of their records are carefully remastered and cut to the highest standards to make sure the pressings are of peak audio quality and do justice to the music being released. And something else to note is that they don't do limited runs to drive up resale and hype. If the demand is there, they'll repress as the focus is the music, not the profit margin. They have flat rate shipping and free UK shipping on orders over £60. And if you head to bewithrecords.com and use the discount code ONCEADJ, all one word, you'll get 10% off your order. So head to bewithrecords.com and level up those crates today.
I mean, there's like two methods really, and it depends on your sample source.
Yeah.
You can chop it by beat increments, so you warp it perfectly on time, and then it'll chop it into either quarter bar, eighth bars, whatever, equal in increments, which is quite a good way of chopping. Or if, for instance, your sample is maybe more some sort of less rhythmic, lots of little sounds and stuff, and you just want to get all those little sounds, then doing it on the fly, pressing the key down every time you want to put in a slice point, like a start point.
Because I do the clicking the markers and it is a laborious task. Where's the best place for people to get you then? Is it on the YouTube?
Yeah. You can check me out on YouTube. My channel is under the Size Specs channel. All my videos are on there.
I guess it's good to kind of join forces for that sort of content amplification, isn't it?
And you've got my Bandcamp as well, Barry Beats, aka Size Specs. So
yeah, no idea what AKA stands for, but it sounds good.
And the other thing, which has been a long time in the making, and a lot of people have been on my case over the last years, saying, Barry, you've got to do a Patreon. So finally putting into a plan. But the thing is with me, I didn't want to just put like a begging bowl and ask for money for nothing. So I wanted to basically come up with something that would be a really good value offering. So for me, because it's amazing the fact, I'm always like, the thing that keeps me going is the incredible support and the people seem to really love and embrace all the stuff I'm doing. So this is hopefully an opportunity. So the way it's kind of going to work in a sense, and this is maybe, I don't know, probably a bit optimistic, but I'm going to be instigating something. I'm working title Operation P45. The main aim is to become self-sufficient, to do it full time, which is going to be my dream, because all I want to be able to do really is fulfill my potential as a music making producer, sharing my knowledge, putting my beats out there and being as creative as possible. But as everyone knows, time is limited. I've got a lot of responsibilities, and one of the main ones is me 9 to 5. So if I can supplement that earning through Patreon, I know it's a massive ask, but I do have, because when I was originally thinking of it, it's never going to happen, I'm going to need hundreds and hundreds of Patreons to be able to do that. But then I suddenly thought, well, quite a few people in the past have asked me about whether I offer any lessons or anything like that. So what I'm also going to be offering as part of my Patreon tiers is going to be a top tier where you will get like an hour or more mentorship or personal video tuition. So that option is there as a sort of a high-end sort of £100 plus offering, but you'll get my 100% committed support there with your music making. So I mean, I've got so many other plans. I'm going to be doing like a weekly live stream, which I'm planning at the moment, which will be every Sunday. I'll be live streaming for 3 or 4 hours in the evening, either making a beat, playing through old records, having friends around, playing, just basically hanging out with me in the studio, having fun. I might be looking at a technique, going through a few different techniques, might have a musician round. So loads of ideas for fun stuff we can do for that. Every month I'll be doing an exclusive sample composition. So you get a royalty-free sample, which will be like a full composition, like a kind of library, old funk record or whatever. There's going to be 4 tiers. There'll be the £2 introductory one, where you still get like access to 1 or 2 of the live streams a month. Then the next one, you get the sample. The one up from that, you'll get the sample and all the stems and lots of other little things. Oh, you also get a little card sent to your address with a badge, a Barry badge. They'll be coming in the post soon. I'm waiting for my Barry badge. So your chance to basically, help me out. Operation P45. For anyone who will be supporting me before P45 is hopefully a resounding success, you'll become a member of Barry's Black Squadron. Now, the Black Squadron is a unique opportunity to become either a foot soldier, a corporal, sergeant, or commander-in-chief, depending on your tier. So that's the plan. And obviously, if you support me at this stage, you'll still get some good rewards. I'll be offering some good value, but the objective is to do it full time, and then there'll be videos. There'll probably be more Barry content than you actually want in your life. So if I could, that's the thing. If I could be doing this full time, the amount of interesting things I could be doing. Yeah, I'd be doing loads of stuff. So it'd be loads of videos, and that's the plan anyway, man.
Great stuff. Well, once that's all up and running, let me know, and we'll be sure to share it out on the socials.
I appreciate that, man.
Amazing. I really enjoyed chatting to you and catching up today.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And I'm going to be getting some more of the Ultimate Fakes as well. I think I got one of them, one of the albums, so I'm going to be getting more of them for sure. Yeah,
we're up to 4 now. So
yes.
And again, it's like a combination of, you've got classic breaks, your Apaches and your Take Me to the Mardi Gras and all those things are in there. And I've kind of basically, they're the ones that take the longest, is because I'm trying my best to get as close as I can using, Addictive Drums is probably my favourite one that I use. Abbey Road a little bit, but Addictive Drums is incredible. So the amount of manipulation you can do on that is, anyone looking to get into this, I would strongly recommend check out Addictive Drums for drum manipulation and making fake breaks, basically. Until you get that, check out my sample kits, because there's one shots as well on there, so you can fill your boots and make your own ones. But so there's original ones on there. There's my cloned classic breaks. Check them out if you're after drums.
Awesome.
And they're cheap. They're £5 each, or a little more if you're feeling generous.
Great stuff. Right, thanks very much for your time, Barry.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Most appreciated.
Take care, mate.
Catch you later.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Once a DJ. If you'd like to support the show, then head to onceadj.com/support to find out how you can help. If you'd like to get in touch with any feedback or suggestions, email onceadjpodcast@gmail.com. Once a DJ is produced by the good people at Remote Control. If you'd like to find out more about working with them, head to remote-ctrl.co.uk.
That was nice.